Today we will be doing a July market update for Kent County, Delaware. We're going to cover July, June to July, as well as some highlighted things for the year to kind of keep in mind if you are going to be buying or selling here in Kent County, Delaware. I have some benefits for our sellers and some benefits for our buyers, so let's get into it. My name is Kiana Burgos, and I am a licensed realtor who services the entire state of Delaware, and if there's one thing I love, it's the numbers. And so this is something that I like to highlight to show people what they can expect in our market and how this can benefit them. So let's get into these numbers now. In the month of July, we saw 284 new homes come to the market. That ended our month with 676 homes in total still on the market. That was a 3-month worth supply, and we saw 167 homes go under contract, 183 of them sold, and there was 39 days on market. Now, if you wanted to compare this from June to July, June was actually our best month this year, and so July was just slightly under, so let's compare those numbers now. From July to June, we saw almost a 12% decrease in listings, so there was less homes that came to the market. Ended month inventory actually went up 4.3%, and that just shows you that homes are kind of staying on a little bit longer, so we did see some of those influx of homes that were listed in June stay on and were still available in the month of July. There was a 2% increase about in pended properties between the months. Closed actually did go down almost 19%. So there were fewer homes that closed in the month of July as compared to the month of June. Now, days on market did go up slightly. It was just 2 days, so it's nothing crazy, and hopefully we can keep in that range because that would be ideal for both our buyers and our sellers. Now, let's get into some year-to-date numbers just so that you can kind of have an overview of everything. So total units listed since January is 1,829 homes. The average sold price is $349,000 here in Kent County. The average days on market was 47. Market supply has kind of ranged between the 3 to almost 4 months range, and so that's actually a neutral market. We're leaning more towards a seller market than a buyer market, but we're kind of in a neutral space right now. Our highest median sold price was in June. That was $357,000, and our lowest was in January with $323,000. So those were our sold prices as opposed to our list prices. So if we look at the list prices for those months, we saw $365,000 in the month of June as our listed median, and $357,000 as our sold median. So there wasn't a huge disparity between those two prices. So we didn't see a huge drop. That's what that means. And then we saw the $364,000 listed median in January, and yet we only have the sold median of $323,000. So important information to know, that is a $41,000 difference between those two numbers, which is very large. So that may mean that there was a lot of homes being put onto the market that were overpriced and essentially sold for about $40,000 under. These are just numbers, not necessarily averages. These are medians. So that doesn't mean that you're going to be losing out on $40,000 if you had sold your home this year in January. But it could mean that you did end up having to go at a lower price than you had originally listed for. We've covered some of these numbers. It's important to realize how these numbers can affect you as a buyer or seller, especially how it can benefit you, because we all want to know how we can all win. So let's get into our buyers first. Buyers, because the median prices have fluctuated and we're seeing a big disparity between what is originally being listed at and what is being sold at, that could mean a possible opportunity for negotiation for you, meaning you may be able to negotiate the price to something that is more accurate to what the market is indicating, or something that you feel you may better afford. But of course, there are lots of things that you can do in your offer that help you negotiate. It's not always going to be the price. Sometimes it's different terms, but more negotiating power is always great for your buyer. That also is an increase in inventory. So as we saw in the month of July, there were 676 homes still on the market at the end of the month. The more inventory that is out there means there's more possibility for you to find your future home. And because there is more inventory out there, hopefully it's less competitive for you, meaning you don't have to put your offer up against someone else's offer, which can be a little bit tough sometimes, especially if you guys have similar terms or one person is willing to negotiate on something that you may not be willing to budge on. We've covered some of these numbers. It's important to realize how these numbers can affect you as a buyer or seller, especially how it can benefit you, because we all want to know how we can all win. Your days on market are a little bit longer. That may allow you to have a little bit more negotiating power with your contingencies. Doesn't always mean that your seller is super desperate and just going to take the first offer that they receive, but it does mean that you may be able to negotiate maybe a lower price, possible concessions, or just something that works out better for you, a later closing date, anything like that that is a possible contingency that may benefit you. Now for our sellers. The median list price is still trending upwards despite the July dip. That could mean wonderful things for you. With the median price still going up, that does mean that you might be able to get the bang in your butt that you were looking for. I do want to warn that the current market that we are in is very different than the market that we were in even from just a couple months ago, and especially a year or longer. So when you are trying to compare numbers that were from several years ago or several months ago, that data is no longer going to support the numbers or the comps that you were looking for. We want to make sure that we get you listed properly and competitively. We want to make sure that your home is being looked at and not being told that it is overpriced, and rather it is perfectly priced for the right buyer. Inventory is still kind of low. Like I said, it is a little bit higher in the grand scheme of things. That does give our buyers more of an opportunity to get out there and see more homes, but like I said, we're kind of in a neutral market right now, but it is leaning more towards sellers than buyers, so it is still a benefit for you. So making sure that you have priced your home properly is very important, because this is going to mean that if you have a deadline that you need to meet, or if you are trying to move out as soon as possible, you are going to be able to meet that goal quicker than those who do not price their homes accurately. If you like being updated on what's happening in our local market, then I will definitely make sure that you like and subscribe my page so that you can keep in touch with this series that will happen every single month and go over all kinds of numbers to make sure that you are aware of what's happening in your local market.